I heard it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it was, echoing in the corner of my mind. The gentle chiming of a clock as it counted down the last moments of Gerald Hanson's life. The clock, or sensor, was my guide, urging me on, directing me when to move in, at what precise moment to grapple with Gerald's soul and send it spinning into oblivion. The only thing I knew about Gerald at this moment was that he was a lawyer, and his life was forfeit to keep the balance. Grandmother Coyote had called in a favor from the Autumn Lord, and Hiran had specifically directed that I be the one to take care of this. For whatever reason, I was to be the death maiden who attended his departure. I glanced back at Greta. She remained impassive, waiting for my move, so I set out for the ravine and she followed me. We raced through the etheric winds as if we were meteors shooting through the sky. Movement on the astral still confused me, although I'd been here a number of times, but I was slowly getting used to it. And here it was that the Death Maidens paid their victims their last visits, on a tiny sliver of one of the astral planes reserved for our work and our work alone. We were the last people our victims would ever see, the last faces they would know. Some we escorted to glory and to great rewards for their courage and bravery. For others, we were the harbingers of doom, the final hand of judgment, and we could not be denied. We sent the latter into the churning pool of primal force, where their souls were cleansed, purged, and reborn as pure energy ready for use. Gerald Hanson would be among the latter. As the clock ticked down the last minutes of Gerald's life, I walked through the walls of his house, followed by Greta until I was standing beside him. He wouldn't see me until it was too late. Technically, I wasn't the one who would kill him. Oh, to the outer world, it would appear that Gerald Hanson had died of a sudden, massive stroke. In reality, the hags of fate would cut his cord that they had spun since his birth, and that severing blow would trigger the stroke. Whatever sins Gerald had committed, they were great enough to earn him a one-way ticket into oblivion. His soul was so tainted that it could not be allowed to continue on the eternal cycle. I stood beside him, waiting. There was no one else in the house except a little dog who was asleep on the sofa. The beagle would be well cared for. I'd call Chase after I finished to make certain. This case, along with whatever notifications were necessary, would fall under the jurisdiction of the Fairy Human Crime Scene Investigation, FHCSI, unit. The FHCSI would be involved because Gerald Hanson wasn't human. He was part werewolf, a fourth if you wanted to quibble, but still enough to earn him a spot on the rolls of the soup community registers. As the final seconds ticked down, I stepped forward, standing in front of him. A pause, then 3, 2, 1, and Gerald clutched his chest, looking confused. I waited until he spasmed again, then went limp. As his body slumped on the sofa, his spirit rose to stand in front of me. At first he looked confused, but then he saw me and jumped back. "Where? Who are you? What?" He glanced back at his body, and a slow look of understanding crossed his face. As he turned back to me, I moved in. I grabbed his arm, and we vanished into a place where there existed only the swirl of mist and fog, as a thin silver crescent hung high overhead against the backdrop of stars. There was nothing familiar here, at least not to Gerald. There was nothing to comfort, nor to soothe fear or offer hope. Here there was merely the whisper of vapor that flowed around us and the cold shimmer of the stars. We stood there between the worlds, and before he could speak I clutched both of his shoulders. His memories began to flow into my own, and I saw through his eyes. Flash. A long hall stretched out in front of Gerald. On either side stood rows of cells, cages with iron bars. The hallway was dimly lit and smelled like urine.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.